You've made the same turn 10,000 times, same side of the road every single trip, and you never once chose it. Right now, 165 countries drive on the right and 75 drive on the left, and almost nobody in either camp can tell you why. There was no global summit, no treaty, no vote, just a habit handed down by people who died centuries before the first car existed. And it all comes down to one detail nobody ever brings up: which hand you needed to keep free. Call it the free hand rule. So, which side actually won, and why does yours feel like the obvious one? Here's the short version. Your side got picked by two forces that never once talked to each other: one emperor and one wagon. Napoleon marched his armies on the right and stamped that rule onto every country he rolled through. Britain dug into the left, then shipped it to a quarter of the planet through its empire. Two habits, two hands. Everybody else just got assigned a side and stopped asking. But the story starts on the left because left is where almost everyone began. For most of human history, you kept to the left without thinking about it. If a stranger came the other way down the road, your right hand, your sword hand, your good hand, stayed aimed right at them. Keep left, and you could draw on a threat without fumbling across your own body. Climbing onto a horse, you swung up from its left side so you weren't sitting on your own blade the whole ride. Left side of the horse, left side of the road, nobody wrote it into law. Everybody carrying a weapon just did it. Your ancestors weren't being polite to oncoming traffic. They were staying ready to stab a guy. You never chose your side, and neither did they. So how did half the planet flip to the other side? Blame freight. In the late 1700s, American haulers built enormous wagons, the Conestoga, pulled by teams of 6 or 8 horses with no driver's seat anywhere on them. The driver rode the rear left horse because that kept his right hand, his whip hand, free to reach the entire team. Sitting on the left, he wanted oncoming wagons to pass him on his left so he could lean out and watch his wheels clear theirs by an inch. That single preference nudged an entire country to the right. The sword hand built the left, the whip hand built the right. Same exact instinct, keep the good hand working, is flipped to the opposite result. And here's where it gets stupid. Two men holding two different tools quietly redrew the traffic map you still drive on today. France is where it turned political. Before the revolution, the aristocracy rode on the left and forced the peasants into the right-hand gutter. Then heads started rolling, and suddenly strolling on the left looked like a fast way to get flagged as nobility. So everyone drifted right to blend in and keep their neck. Napoleon took that right-hand habit and pressed it onto the Netherlands, Belgium, Germany, Poland, and Spain. Basically anywhere his army marched by 1812. Get conquered by France, drive on the right. The places that beat him back or stayed out of range, Britain, Portugal, Sweden, kept left out of what looks a lot like pure spite. Your side of the road is partly a record of who lost a war 200 years ago. Britain made the left official and permanent. A rule in 1773 suggested it, and an act in 1835 turned it into law. Then the empire did the one thing empires are actually good at. It exported the habit everywhere it planted a flag. India, Australia, South Africa, Hong Kong, colonized by Britain, driving on the left to this day. But here's the part that trips everyone up. Japan drives on the left, and Britain never ruled a single inch of it. In the 1800s, British engineers built Japan's first railways. The trains ran on the left, and the whole country simply matched its roads to its trains. So, a third of the planet keeps left today because of one island's sword habit and a pile of borrowed railroad track. You never chose your side. An empire did, or an engineer did, long before you were born. Now the part that quietly breaks people. We treat driving on the right like the natural default, and Britain like the stubborn weirdo who refused to get with the program. It's backwards. In 1919, it was a dead tie. 104 territories drove on the left, and exactly 104 drove on the right. Right didn't win because it was obviously correct. It won slowly, one country at a time, as 34 left-driving places flipped over the next few decades, usually because their right-driving neighbors turned every border crossing into a slow-motion accident. Peter Kincaid wrote an entire book chasing this down, and the honest verdict is that right won on logistics, not logic. Left isn't the exception. Left is just the side that keeps losing. And if you assume a country simply can't reverse something this basic, one already did. On September 3rd, 1967, at 5 in the morning, Sweden switched sides. The whole nation went to bed driving on the left and woke up ordered to drive on the right. They called it Dagen H. Every road sign got swapped in a single night. Buses were rebuilt with doors on the other side, and for one genuinely surreal morning, nobody was completely sure who had the right of way. Accidents actually dropped at first purely because everyone was too scared to stop concentrating. An entire country flipped the oldest rule of the road like a light switch, which means your side was never sacred. It was just the setting nobody had bothered to change. So here's what you're actually doing every time you back out of your driveway. You're taking orders from a dead emperor, a wagon driver's whip hand, or an engineer who happened to like British trains. You inherited a side, defended it like it was the only sane option, and never asked a single question about it, until right now. That's the free hand rule's final joke. The hand it was invented to protect once held a sword, and today you use it to hold a coffee and change the radio. Cool. Mystery solved. Except you still never chose your side. Nobody did. We all just quietly agreed to pretend one of them was right. Anyway,